Today I really wanted to do like a deep dive into the Michigan-Ohio rivalry. Now, I touched on the Toledo War, which we'll get into in a little bit, but overall just Ohio versus Michigan, we're all kind of pit against each other, and I wanted to kind of go into why that is, why it continues to today, some insider drama I have after visiting Columbus and Cleveland, and honestly, I've never traveled to Ohio more in my life and appreciated after traveling there, Michigan that much more too. So, more to come. First, I want to go into the Michiganders Say What section and share some comments from all you guys on my videos and kind of give you some background knowledge on the videos themselves too. The first one coming from I am the bandana bandit. I am the Bandana Bandit 75. I always make sure to try to say everybody's name. But it's on a recent video I did about June bugs, which are these big, thick-bodied, long-legged bugs that come in June, early July, in the summer, by the lake usually. And they're huge, they're just flying around, they're harmless, they don't do anything to humans, but they always get caught in people's hair. I remember countless times my mom, my sister, my aunt, once it gets in the hair, it just does not get out because it has these long tendril of legs. So I want to do a video on just with my Michigan mom character and me and kind of comparing the two. But it was a very funny video. My mom cracked up at it. So check it out if you want. But the comment reads, love the Enjoy Detroit t-shirt, wordplay on Verner's. If you don't mind me asking, where did you get it? And I did get it at City Bird in Midtown, but I believe it's like Detroit Ink is the brand. Hold on. I gotta, one moment. Ink Detroit is the one who made the t-shirt. So you can go buy it. Maybe they have a site. I didn't check that out, but they probably have a site. Or you can go to your local stores in Midtown, like City Bird, and go buy them from there. Next, I want to pull two comments from my collab with the one and only Fago, which you guys seem to like a lot, and I appreciate it because I think it's cool that I get to make Michigan-specific content for Michiganders, sometimes for the Midwest at large. But I get to make videos on things and do collabs where I get to make some money doing what I love and having a career that I've dreamed of having, and it's amazing. So thank you for always supporting that. But two, I get to make videos and collab with businesses on things that people actually care about, like Fago. And it's not just like, a useless item for your bathroom or something like that, or another skin cream that you probably don't need. So it's really cool. These brands absolutely love doing the collabs too. They, on the back end, they're always messaging me ideas. They have a lot of fun with it. They let me kind of share my ideas and have a lot of fun with it, which in the business world is hard to come by. But I think it's because these brands are, or at least the teams that reach out to me are Michiganders themselves. So everyone kind of gets what's going on and gets how great Michigan is. So the comments on these, I'm going to read two. One from Border X67 says, rock and rye all day, then orange, then red, because I kind of did a rating on the different Fago flavors that they sent me in a box and kind of just shared my, 2 cents on each of them. But the other one from Wandering Heather MI, guessing she's from Michigan, said, so I'm definitely team rock and rye. I loved it as a kid, and as an adult, I drink it as well and use it as a mix. It's great with ice cream as a float, and I personally like it warm and cold depending on the situation. I can drink it straight out of the case. My second would be orange. Like you said, creamy and no milk is magic, because the orange creamsicle flavor of Fago, literally had a creamy taste to it, but there's obviously no dairy in it or no cream. So that boggled me a little bit. It was one of the first times I think I tried that one. The comment section really tends to be its own world in my videos, because again, I've kind of created this community of Michiganders that all watch the videos and all understand what each other's saying. So you get full comments like this that are a paragraph talking about their Michigan experience. And just make sure you're tuning into it, because if you're not, maybe you're only getting half the story of what the content's sharing versus what other people feel about it. So when it comes to the Michigan-Ohio rivalry, this was something that I researched that a lot of people search for. And I'm not surprised, because to this day, Ohio and Michigan kind of are always butting heads. There's a mutual respect for each other, but they also want to tear each other down, kind of like siblings, if you will. And so, I mean, even till today, there is an annual football game, so big sports game, big energy goes into University of Michigan versus Ohio State. I have family that lives in Ohio and are now Ohio State fans. Obviously, I have people who are U of M fans. I went to Michigan State myself and obviously know about the rivalry between even Michigan State and Ohio State and U of M and Ohio State. Really, there's just a lot of rivalry going on. But what really jump-started it is the Toledo War. And I talked about this war in a separate podcast, so you can go check it out for more of a deep dive on it. But essentially, Michigan and Ohio were fighting over this 50-mile strip of land that includes Toledo. It only lasted about 3 days. No one died or anything. But in the end, Michigan ended up getting all of the UP and Ohio got Toledo, or that 50-mile Toledo strip plot of land. And in essence, they thought, Michigan was getting a bad deal out of this, but in actuality, the UP ended up being full of all these resources. So Michiganders ended up winning in the end, if you ask me. And look, imagine Michigan without the UP. Imagine if it was Wisconsin's. No, it just doesn't seem right. I feel like it belongs to Michigan, despite most of it being above Wisconsin. So that's where the rivalry really started. I think maybe they felt burned because the UP ended up being great and they ended up with Toledo, which I'm sure was great too, I guess. But that's really where things started. Now, as time goes on, going up to today, I think that, in going to Columbus, going to Cleveland, people in Ohio still know nothing about Michigan. They talk about big media things that have come out of Michigan, but besides that, they don't know anything really about like the travel. They don't know anything about the West Coast, really much about the UP. They share a commonality in that Ohio has a lake life culture that is on like Lake Erie. Like when I went to Cleveland, I thought it was really funny because I'm used to seeing like Lake Michigan perch at a dinner place for food. But with them, they had Lake Erie perch. And I was like, wait, hold on a second. We're the Great Lakes State. You can't be taking, our like lake branding for food and perch and dinners. And I just thought it was super interesting. And I feel like that kind of adds to the commonality of things we share, of why there is that kind of like sibling feeling. But to be honest, like most Ohioans that I talk to, they don't really know much about. So I take it upon myself as that Michigan guy to, of course, educate them and say how many great things there are, how they need to come check out Detroit, how they need to come check out the UP, travel Michigan. It's not really too far either from someone in like Toledo, for example. Obviously, it's only like 50 minutes away from Metro Detroit. I think if Ohioans learned a bit more about Michigan, they would grow to appreciate it, kind of like how Chicagoans have, because another fun fact for you is that when I went and lived in Chicago for 2 years, don't cancel me, it was right after college, okay? It was before I started making any of this Michigan content, okay? There was a lot of advertisement for like Traverse City, Saugatuck, and I thought it was so crazy that I just moved from Michigan thinking I was getting this completely different world in Illinois, which it was pretty different, having like the Chicago Bulls on TV instead of the Lions or the Red Wings or what have you. And they advertised Michigan and really love Michigan. Like a lot of my friends in Chicago had been to Saugatuck and had been to Traverse City and explored Michigan's West Coast. So it was interesting that Chicago had this kind of love for Michigan and really nothing really bad to say. But I think the really big reason why Ohioans still feel like they don't want to like give in to being friends with Michigan, we'll say, is because of the football stuff. Like, that rivalry football game that happens annually between U of M and Ohio State, it's sports. People, put all of their energy. So, like, if Ohioans did give in and said they loved Michigan, the rivalry can't exist, right? I'm trying to think this out. This has become a personal POV on the Michigan-Ohio rivalry from myself. But I would say that rivalry with the football game really keeps the spark alive. Because I know that when that game came around, especially when I was at Michigan State and everyone knew about it, it was still like, how dare you support, Michigan State, Ohio State all the way, U of M's great, all this other energy. And I know that with football in general, there's just a lot of heat when it comes to teams playing. And so I think that's really what keeps the Michigan-Ohio rivalry alive to this day and will continue to do so. But I do wish for Ohioans that they knew all the greatness that comes out of Michigan. And I myself, I did find some positives in going to Columbus and Cleveland. I thought they were cute. I know that Ohio has a nature preserve with all these waterfalls that's by Columbus that I want to check out really bad. And a lot of my friends here in Michigan have been traveling down to. I feel like we're more open to making the relationship and the rivalry, work. Ohio, you're listening to me. Are you willing to put the work into this relationship to grow and connect and really share the best of what each state has to offer? I'm talking to you. I'd like answers, okay? So that's my take on the Michigan-Ohio rivalry. I mean, history has proven why it exists, and we continue it till this day with sports. And so I think that's going to continue on for a while. But what's your take on it? Maybe there's other reasons I didn't explore of why the rivalry exists. And how do you feel? Do you feel like there's room for improvement in terms of how we treat each other, how we talk about each other? What's the status of the relationship to you? But I would love to know. And other than that, feel free to check out like I said, the other podcast on the Michigan-Ohio War, the Toledo War. You can also check out my other videos on Michigan on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts. I try to keep things comedic, happy-go-lucky, kind of give you inspiration, some recos and things to do always. Also, be sure to leave a review on this podcast if you've enjoyed it, and follow it if you're, wanting to get notifications when I release new episodes in the future. If you're not happy with the podcast, feel free to shoot me a message on a topic you want to see, things that could be improved. I'm all here to kind of create content for everybody here listening and make it the best that I possibly can. And other than that, I will see you all, Mish, again.